Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And do subscribe our YouTube and Telegram channels. Now let's start our discussion.
Welcome back to English Lecture Notes. Today we are going to start a new session, that is literary criticism. We start with Aristotle's observations on tragedy. Aristotle's Poetics brings forth key notions in literature, including a definition of tragedy, the concept of catharsis, as the purpose of tragedy, etc. The treatise, we call the Poetics, was composed at least 50 years after the death of Sophocles. Aristotle was a great admirer of Sophocles, Oedipus the king, considering it the perfect tragedy. Aristotle identifies tragedy as the most refined version of poetry, dealing with lofty matters, and comedy as the most refined version of poetry, dealing with base matters. Aristotle says, tragedy is an imitation of an action that is serious, complete, and of a certain magnitude, in language embellished with each kind of artistic ornament, the several kind of being found in separate parts of the play, in the form of action, not of narrative, through pity and fear affecting the proper purgation of these emotions. This is the famous definition of tragedy. Tragedy is an imitation of an action that is serious, complete, and of a certain magnitude, in language embellished with each kind of artistic ornament, the several kind of being found in separate parts of the play, in the form of action, not of narrative, through pity and fear affecting the proper purgation of these emotions. Now we can analyze this definition line by line. Aristotle says, tragedy is an imitation of an action that is serious. Serious action means a tale of suffering exciting pity and fear. Pity is one of the emotions aroused in the audience of a tragedy. We respond with pity, Aristotle seems to suggest, when we as members of the audience identify with the tragic hero's suffering. We feel pity for undeserved misfortune, and we feel fear if the person we pity is something like ourselves. So here, serious action means a tale of suffering exciting pity and fear. Action includes all human activities, including deeds, thoughts and feelings. And then the next word is complete. A tragedy should be complete with proper beginning, middle and end. It should be complete with proper beginning, middle and end. Completeness means organic unity or a natural sequence of events. Shattered and events without connection spoil a good tragedy. Artistic ornaments are all designed to enrich the language of the play to make it effective. A plot should have a certain magnitude or a reasonable length. Here magnitude means length. Plot should have a reasonable length, that means, not too long and too short. Aristotle finds 6 constituent parts in tragedy. They are plot, character, thought, diction, song and spectacle. After discussing the definition of tragedy, Aristotle explores various important parts of tragedy. According to him, there are 6 constituent parts of tragedy: plot, character, thought, diction, song and spectacle. First and most important constituent part is plot. Plot or arrangement of the incidents is the chief part of the tragedy. Without action there cannot be a tragedy. There may be tragedy without character. Tragedy is written not merely to imitate men, but to imitate men in action. Here he shows the importance of plot in a tragedy. Character is next only in importance to plot. Characters are the agents of the plot. Characters provide the motivations or reasons for the events of the plot. Third element is thought. Thought reveals itself in speech. Thought imitates men's mental and emotional reaction to the circumstances. Especially in the case of tragedy, thought is very important. Writer employs the medium of diction or words embellished with each kind of artistic ornament. Words are medium of representation and bearer of tragic meaning and effect. So tragedy also contained embellished language. Song is taken to be chief among the embellishments used in tragedy. It particularly refers to the song sung by a group of people known as chorus. Or, in other words, it refers to what is generally known as choric commentary in tragedy. It includes analysis of the major events of past, present and what will happen in the future that intensify the dramatic effects. It narrates the major events that are not shown on stage. of a spectacle or stage representation, constitutes the manner in which tragedy is presented to the public. It means the scenes used in drama for the sake of emotional attraction of the audience. So these are the 6 constituent parts of tragedy. According to Aristotle, plot is the soul of tragedy. According to Aristotle, plot should have these 3 unities: unity of action, unity of time, unity of place. By unity of action, Aristotle meant that the structural union of the parts being such that, if any one of them is displaced or removed, the whole will be disjoined and disturbed. It means, in the plot of a tragedy, every event and every incident must be necessary essential. There should be nothing superfluous. It should not be possible to take out any character or incident without causing any injury to the plot. By unity of time, Aristotle means the conformity between the time taken by the events of the play and that taken in their representation on stage. According to this doctrine, which became literally a critical dogma in 17th century France and in Restoration England, when Aristotle asserts that tragedy attempts as far as possible to remain within one revolution of the sun, means 24 hours, he is referring to the time covered by the dramatic action of the play. By unity of place, Aristotle means the conformity between the scene of the tragic event or events and the time taken by them to happen. He says that the epic may narrate several actions taking place simultaneously at several places, but this is not possible in the tragedy, which does not narrate but represents through action. The 3 unities were deduced from Aristotle, but he has stressed only one unity, that is the unity of action. According to Aristotle, for a good plot, it is necessary to arouse pity and fear in the spectator or the reader. In poetics, Aristotle argues that the true aim of tragedy is to bring about a purification of emotion. According to Aristotle, writers of tragic poetry should produce the pleasure which comes from pity and fear. The plot finally is divisible into 2 parts: complication and denouement. Complication ties the events into a tangled knot, denouement unties it. The complication includes all the actions from the beginning to the point where it takes a turn for good or ill. The denouement extends from the turning point to the end. Complication, commonly called the rising action, and denouement is falling action. The plot may be simple or complex. In a simple plot, there are no puzzling situations that enter into a complex plot, in particular peripeteia and anagnorisis. Peripeteia is generally explained as reversal of the situation, and anagnorisis as recognition or discovery. Anagnorisis is a change from ignorance to knowledge. So remember these 2 terms, peripeteia and anagnorisis. Peripeteia is reversal of situation and anagnorisis is a change from ignorance to knowledge. Both peripeteia and anagnorisis please, because there is an element of surprise in them. According to Aristotle, the ideal tragic hero should be good, but neither too bad nor too perfect. According to Aristotle, an ideal tragic hero should be a person having both good and bad qualities. He says that neither a good character can be an ideal tragic hero, nor can a bad character fulfill the purpose of a true tragedy. Reason is that a good character will not create fear, which is an important element of tragedy. Godlike person's sufferings are not justified at all. It will only create sympathy. In this way, a totally bad person is also not good for a tragedy. If a villain suffers, then his sufferings will not arouse pity. Hence, an ideal tragic hero in Aristotle's views is the one who is possessor of both good and bad qualities. This error in tragic hero's character is hamartia, or it can be called as the tragic flaw. Aristotle concludes by comparing tragedy with epic poetry, and determining that tragedy is on the whole superior. If you need full written material of this content, visit our website www.englishlecturenotes.com. We will come back with more literary criticism related topics. If you need any specific topic, please do comment under this video. Don't forget to subscribe our channel and click the bell icon to get the notification of our coming videos.